Leading Case 14. Githa Hariharan and Anwar v. Reserve Bank of India and Anwar. In this video, we delve into the landmark Githa Hariharan case against the Reserve Bank of India in 1999, a pivotal moment in India's legal history that paved the way for significant legal reforms and rights protection. The Supreme Court's ruling in this case set a powerful legal precedent, influencing the trajectory of judicial activism and state intervention in the country. We explore how this case, along with the Vishaka judgment and guidelines, has contributed to the advancement of gender justice and women empowerment, particularly in the context of sexual harassment and violence. By examining this crucial case, we aim to raise legal awareness and promote a deeper understanding of the Indian judiciary's role in upholding women's rights and promoting gender equality. Join us as we unravel the complexities of this groundbreaking case and its lasting impact on Indian society. Hi, I am Advocate Dr. Saurabh Kapoor, bringing you a video on this fascinating topic like this. But before you start watching this video, I request you to kindly subscribe and hit the bell icon to my YouTube channel to view videos like this more. Please leave a comment below telling your thought and idea about this video and future videos you want. Kindly share this video with your friends, family and social groups to spread this knowledge. Did you know that this case was one of the first in India to challenge the Reserve Bank of India's authority regarding financial regulations, highlighting the balance of power between government institutions and individual rights? Welcome back to Leading Cases, where we dive into the most influential judgments that have shaped the Indian legal landscape. Today, we're going to explore a landmark case that has had a profound impact on women's rights and gender equality in India. The case we're looking at is Githa Hariharan and Anwar v. Reserve Bank of India, a 1999 judgment that has been a game-changer for women's empowerment. Facts of Ms. Githa Hariharan vs. RBI case. The petitioner and Dr. Mohan Ram tied a nuptial knot in 1982, and from the wedlock their son was born in 1984. The petitioner by an application requested the Reserve Bank of India for a 9% relief bond in favor of her son, with a proclamation that, being the mother, she would act as a natural guardian and supervise all the investments. However, the application was returned, and the court instructed the petitioner to present the application signed by the father of the minor son and additionally furnish the certificate of guardianship by a competent authority in her favor. Second, there was a divorce proceeding pending between the petitioner and her husband, in which the husband prayed for the custody of the child. In association with this, he had written many letters to the petitioner asserting that he is the natural guardian of the minor child and they could take no decision without his approval, which has resulted in the present case. Legal issue: whether the Constitution of India violates Section 6 of the Hindu Minority and Guardianship Act. Contentions. The assertion illustrated by the petitioner was twofold. Firstly, it was contended that Section 6 of the Act is discriminatory against women and runs counter to the equality of parental rights. As the literal meaning of Section 6 conveys, the natural guardian of a boy or unmarried girl is the father, and after him, such right rests with the mother. The term after in a general sense refers to the lifetime of the father, providing secondary status to mothers. This contravenes Article 15 of the Constitution and constrains the right of guardianship from the women. Second, it was contended that the husband/father is non-existent and completely apathetic regarding his son. Ratio decidendi. The Hindu Minority and Guardianship Act, 1956 was fashioned for the protection and welfare of the children. Therefore, any interpretation of its provisions should be as per the judiciary should reject the intent of the legislation. While the interpretation of statute courts stresses harmonious construction and retention of the statute, scrapping is considered an end resort when there is a gross violation. The courts, while analyzing the welfare of a child, should consider the circumstances of the case, the position of parents, the religion of the child, etc. Therefore, reliance was placed on the case of J.V. Godre v. Pathank in 2 SCC 717, where mother and father were separated for a long time and mother supervised all the affairs of the child, and despite father was alive, he was non-existent in management of his child's life. The mother was granted the status of a natural guardian by the court. Decision in Githa Hariharan vs. RBI case. Gender equality is a critical element in constitutional law. Consequently, when the term after characterizes as disqualification of the mother as a natural guardian during the lifetime of the father will be considered a contravention to constitutional law. Father, being a dominant personality, cannot be given preferential rights over mother. Therefore, the term after in Section 6 of the Act should not be interpreted in a narrow sense as after the lifetime. On the contrary, it should be characterized as absence of father, i.e. be it temporary or otherwise, or total apathy by father because of any sickness or otherwise. The mother would be considered as the natural guardian of the child. The case Githa Hariharan and Anwar v. Reserve Bank of India and Anwar. 2 SEC 228 is a landmark judgment by the Supreme Court of India that addressed issues of gender equality in the interpretation of parental rights under Indian law. Below is a brief overview of the case. Background. The case arose when Githa Hariharan, an author and mother, applied to the Reserve Bank of India for a fixed deposit in the name of her minor son. She sought to be recognized as the guardian for the purpose of managing the account. However, the application was rejected on the grounds that her husband was still alive and, as per customary interpretation, the father is the natural guardian under Section 6 of the Hindu Minority and Guardianship Act, 1956, unless the father is deemed unfit. Hariharan challenged this interpretation, arguing that it was discriminatory and violated her fundamental rights under Articles 14 and 15 of the Indian Constitution, which guarantee equality before the law and prohibit discrimination based on gender. Legal issues. 1. Whether Section 6 of the HMGA, 1956, which provides that the father is the natural guardian and the mother is considered guardian only after the father's death, violates constitutional principles of gender equality. 2. Whether a mother can act as a natural guardian during the lifetime of the father. Supreme Court's judgment. The Supreme Court interpreted Section 6 of the HMGA in a progressive and gender-neutral manner. It held that 1. The term after in Section 6 should not be interpreted literally as after the lifetime of the father. Instead, it should be read to mean in the absence of the father, which includes situations where the father is unavailable, indifferent, or otherwise incapable of taking responsibility. 2. Both parents have equal rights to act as natural guardians of a minor, and the law must recognize the mother as a guardian on par with the father. 3. The provision in the HMGA must be read in a manner consistent with the constitutional guarantee of equality under Article 14 and non-discrimination under Article 15. Significance. The case is a milestone in advancing gender equality and challenging patriarchal interpretations of laws. It recognized the evolving roles of women in society and upheld the principle of shared parental responsibility. It set a precedent for interpreting laws in a manner consistent with constitutional values. This judgment remains a cornerstone in Indian family law jurisprudence and a step forward in dismantling gender stereotypes. This case is significant not only because of its outcome but also because of the questions it raises about the role of institutions in perpetuating patriarchal norms. As we delve into the details of this case, we'll see how it has contributed to a more inclusive understanding of gender roles and has paved the way for future challenges to discriminatory laws. The importance of this case cannot be overstated, particularly in the context of women's rights and gender equality in India. It's a powerful reminder that even in the face of institutional resistance, individuals can come together to challenge unjust laws and fight for their rights. So, let's dive into the story of Githa Hariharan and see how her bravery has inspired a generation of women to stand up for their rights. In the next section, we'll explore the background of Githa Hariharan's situation, detailing the events that led to her legal battle against the Reserve Bank of India regarding the interpretation of the term guardian in banking laws. Githa Hariharan, a Tamil writer and activist, was married to Rajan Hariharan, and they had a son together. When Rajan passed away, Githa was shocked to discover that she couldn't open a bank account for her minor son without the consent of her father-in-law, who was appointed as the legal guardian. This was because the Reserve Bank of India's rules defined a guardian as the father or paternal grandfather, in that order, and only in their absence, the mother. This narrow interpretation of the term guardian meant that mothers were automatically excluded from taking care of their children's financial matters, even if they were the primary caregivers. Githa was determined to challenge this discriminatory rule, which she believed was not only unconstitutional but also perpetuated patriarchal norms that relegated women to secondary roles. Githa's husband had named her as the nominee for his National Savings Certificate, but the bank refused to allow her to encash it, citing the rules that only the father or paternal grandfather could act as guardians for minors. This meant that Githa was being denied her rightful inheritance, and her son was being denied his rightful benefits. Githa Hariharan was not one to back down from a fight. She approached the Madras High Court, which initially dismissed her petition. Undeterred, she appealed to the Supreme Court, arguing that the Reserve Bank of India's rules were unconstitutional and violated her fundamental rights as a mother. The Supreme Court heard Githa's case and was faced with the question of whether the term guardian should be interpreted to include mothers as well. The court had to balance the competing interests of the Reserve Bank of India's regulations and the constitutional guarantees of equality and non-discrimination. The court also had to consider the implications of its decision on the larger question of women's rights and gender equality in India. Would it continue to perpetuate patriarchal norms that relegated women to secondary roles, or would it challenge these norms and recognize the equal rights of mothers? In the landmark judgment delivered on February 3, 1999, the Supreme Court ruled in favor of Githa Hariharan, recognizing the equal rights of mothers in relation to their children's financial matters. This was a significant victory not just for Githa but also for women's rights activists across the country. The court held that the term guardian must be interpreted to include mothers as well, as the exclusion of mothers was not only unconstitutional but also contrary to the principles of natural justice. This ruling was a major blow to the patriarchal norms that had held sway over Indian society for centuries. The implications of the Supreme Court's ruling were far-reaching, and it set a precedent for future cases that challenged discriminatory laws and practices. For women's rights activists, this judgment was a beacon of hope, as it recognized the equal rights of mothers and paved the way for a more inclusive understanding of gender roles. In the years that followed, the Githa Hariharan case inspired a new wave of legal challenges to discriminatory laws and practices. Women across the country began to assert their rights, and the courts responded by delivering judgments that favored gender equality. The Githa Hariharan case also led to a re-examination of the Reserve Bank of India's rules and regulations, which were subsequently amended to recognize the equal rights of mothers. This was a major victory for women's empowerment, as it gave mothers the right to take care of their children's financial matters without having to rely on male guardians. As we reflect on the implications of the Githa Hariharan case, it's clear that it has had a profound impact on women's rights and gender equality in India. The case has set a precedent for future challenges to discriminatory laws and has paved the way for a more inclusive understanding of gender roles. The Githa Hariharan case is a powerful reminder that even in the face of institutional resistance, individuals can come together to challenge unjust laws and fight for their rights. It's a testament to the power of the human spirit and a beacon of hope for women's empowerment. In conclusion, the Githa Hariharan case is a landmark judgment that has had a profound impact on women's rights and gender equality in India. The case is a powerful reminder of the importance of challenging discriminatory laws and practices and recognizing the equal rights of mothers. The case is also a testament to the bravery of Githa Hariharan, who refused to back down in the face of adversity and fought for her rights as a mother. Her courage has inspired a generation of women to stand up for their rights and challenge unjust laws. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you in the next video. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more content on landmark legal cases. What are your thoughts on the Githa Hariharan case? Share them with us in the comments below.